The chalk is still in his hand. The room is silent. Not the kind of silence that feels peaceful. The kind that presses against your chest. Elier can hear his own heartbeat. The clock on the wall. Someone's phone vibrating 3 rows back. The professor is staring at the board. Not at him. At the solution. 10 minutes. That's all it took. 10 minutes to solve a problem that wasn't supposed to have an answer. And now the man who mocked him, who built a career on being untouchable, has gone completely still. Elier's fingers are shaking. Not from fear anymore. From the realization that winning might be the worst thing he's ever done. Because the professor's face isn't showing defeat. It's showing calculation. And in 3 days, Elier's entire future will depend on what happens in the next 60 seconds. Before we go any further, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. California? London? Lagos? Sydney? Let me know you're here. Now, let's go back to where it all started. The lecture hall has a reputation. Students don't talk about it because it's historic. They talk about it because careers die there. Quietly, cleanly, permanently. Elier Kane walks in early. 3rd row. Center seat. Not confidence. Strategy. Sit in the back, you're lazy. Sit in the front, you're desperate. 3rd row means you're serious, but not trying too hard. He learned that the hard way. The door opens. No greeting. No smile. The professor enters like he owns more than the room. Like he owns the future of everyone in it. He doesn't look at faces. He scans for weakness. Elier keeps his head down. Pen ready. Notebook open. 10 minutes in, the professor writes something on the board. No explanation. Just symbols. Cold. Clean. Intimidating. Someone raises a hand. The professor ignores it. Elier raises his. Still nothing. He lowers it. That's when the professor finally turns. Yes. Elier hesitates. Big mistake. I just wanted to clarify the 3rd assumption. Clarify. The word hangs in the air like a trap. You want me to repeat what I just explained because you weren't paying attention? No, I was. Or maybe you were paying attention and still didn't understand. Laughter. Not loud. Just enough. Elier's jaw tightens. He doesn't respond. Let me guess. The professor continues. You're used to being the smart one. Top of your class somewhere smaller. Scholarship student. Elier doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. It's already written on his face. Here's the problem with students like you. You confuse effort with intelligence. You think showing up early and asking questions makes you deep. The room is silent now. Phones come out. Recording. This isn't education anymore. It's entertainment. You want clarity? The professor's voice is calm. Surgical. Fine. He writes a new problem on the board. Longer. Denser. Designed. Then he turns. Solve this. Right now? In front of everyone. Elier's heart stops. If you solve it, you get an A. For the semester. No exams. No assignments. Done. The room leans in. But if you can't, the professor smiles. Not cruel. Worse. Polite. Then maybe you admit this level isn't for you. Laughter again. Louder this time. Elier stares at the board. It's not impossible. But it's not fair either. It's designed to corner. To humiliate. The professor sets his watch. 10 minutes. Starting now. Elier stands. Legs shaking. He walks to the board. Every step feels like a mile. He picks up the chalk. The room is watching. Judging. Waiting for him to break. He reads the problem once. Twice. Then something clicks. Not in his head. Deeper. He's not solving for the answer. He's solving for survival. Chalk moves. Lines form. Patterns emerge. The room is silent now. No phones. No laughing. Just watching. At 6 minutes, someone whispers. Wait. At 8, the professor steps closer. His face changes. Not shock. Something colder. Calculation. At 9 minutes, Elier finishes the last line. Steps back. Says nothing. The timer rings. 10 minutes. The professor stares at the board. Not at Elier. At the solution. His mouth opens. Then closes. For the first time since the semester started, he has no words. The silence is unbearable. No one claps. No one moves. Elier doesn't smile, doesn't celebrate. He just stands there, chalk dust on his fingers, knowing one thing. He just won something he wasn't supposed to. And that's more dangerous than losing. The problem is still on the board. Elier's solution. Clean. Complete. Undeniable. The professor stares at it like it's written in a language he doesn't want to understand. No one speaks. No one moves. The air in the room feels thick. Wrong. This isn't how it was supposed to go. Elier's hand is still holding the chalk. His fingers are trembling. Not from fear anymore. From something else. The realization that he just did something no one expected him to survive. A girl in the front row leans forward. She's recording. Everyone is. The professor finally blinks. Turns. Looks at Elier. Not at his face. Through it. Like he's calculating something behind his eyes. Interesting, he says. That's it. One word. Not correct. Not well done. Not even you pass. Just. Interesting. Elier waits. He doesn't know what else to do. Class dismissed. The room erupts. Whispers. Chairs scraping. Phones buzzing. But the professor doesn't leave. He walks back to his desk. Sits. Opens his laptop. Like nothing happened. Elier stands there. Frozen. Did he just win? Or did he just lose in a way he doesn't understand yet? Someone bumps his shoulder on the way out. Yo, that was insane. Another student nods. I can't believe you actually did it. But their voices feel distant. Hollow. Because Elier is watching the professor. And the professor isn't looking back. He's typing. Fast. Elier walks out. His legs feel like they're not his. The hallway is buzzing. People he's never spoken to are staring. A few are smiling. Most aren't. One guy he recognizes from orientation stops him. Dude, you just embarrassed him in front of everyone. Elier shakes his head. I just solved the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. The guy walks off. Elier doesn't go home. He sits outside the building. On a bench no one uses. He replays the moment in his head. The silence. The stare. The word. Interesting. Not praise. Not anger. Something colder. His phone buzzes. A text from his roommate. Bro, you're trending on campus Reddit. He doesn't open it. Another buzz. A group chat he forgot he was in. Did you really solve it in 10 minutes? He mutes it. Then his email pings. He checks. Nothing. No confirmation. No grade update. No acknowledgement. Like it never happened. That's when the dread starts. Not loud. Not fast. Quiet. Creeping. He opens his student portal. Refreshes. Checks his grades. Nothing updated. Checks the syllabus. No mention of the challenge. Checks the professor's office hours. Cancelled for the week. Elier sits back. Stares at the screen. He won. He knows he did. But no one's saying it. That night, he can't sleep. He keeps thinking about the way the professor looked at the board. Not like he was impressed. Like he was reading a contract. Looking for a way out. At 2 in the morning, Elier opens his laptop. He writes an email. Deletes it. Writes another. Deletes that too. What do you even say? Did I pass? Do I get the A? Why haven't you said anything? All of it sounds desperate. So he doesn't send anything. He just waits. The next morning, he walks into class. Same seat. 3rd row. The professor is already there. Writing on the board. Elier watches him. Waiting for eye contact. Waiting for something. Nothing. The lecture starts. Normal. Smooth. Like yesterday didn't exist. Elier raises his hand. The professor doesn't call on him. He raises it higher. Still nothing. Another student asks a question. Gets answered immediately. Elier lowers his hand. And that's when he feels it. Not anger. Not confusion. Fear. Because he's starting to realize something. Winning wasn't the end. It was the beginning. And whatever comes next, he's not ready for it. The board is clean now. Yesterday's problem erased. Like it never existed. But Elier remembers every line. Every number. And so does the professor. The bell rings. Class ends. Elier stays in his seat. Waiting. The professor packs his bag. Walks toward the door. Elier stands. Professor. Office hours are posted. The door closes. Elier is alone. in a room that just forgot he won. 3 days pass. Nothing happens. No email. No grade change. No announcement. The problem might as well have never existed. Elier checks his portal every morning. Every night. Between classes. Still nothing. His roommate thinks he's paranoid. Dude, you solved it. You're fine. But Elier can't shake the feeling. Winning shouldn't feel like this. On Thursday, he walks into class. The professor is already teaching. Mid-sentence. Like Elier isn't even late. He sits, opens his notebook, tries to focus. The lecture is normal, calm, professional. No mentions of the challenge. No callbacks. No jokes. It's like that day got erased from history. Elier glances around. Other students are taking notes. Nodding. Engaged. No one's talking about it anymore. The moment already faded. But not for him. Class ends. The professor starts packing up. Elier stays seated, waiting until the room clears. Then he stands, walks to the front. Professor. The man doesn't look up, just keeps organizing papers. I wanted to ask about office hours. I know, but office hours are Tuesday and Thursday, 3 to 5. The professor closes his briefcase, looks at Elier for the first time in days. Not angry, not cold, just blank. Is there something urgent? Elier hesitates. The problem. For Monday. You said if I solved it. I remember what I said. Silence. Elier waits. The professor doesn't continue. So did I? Did you what? Solve it. The professor tilts his head. Like the question is amusing. You wrote something on the board. I didn't say it was wrong. But you didn't say it was right either. I don't need to confirm every correct answer. That's not how this works. Elier's throat tightens. You said I'd get an A. I said if you solved it, you'd get an A. I didn't say when you'd get it. The words hit like a slap. What does that mean? The professor picks up his briefcase, walks toward the door. It means patience is part of the process. He leaves. Elier stands there, alone. Again. That night, Elier lies in bed staring at the ceiling. His mind won't stop. Did he solve it wrong? Did he miss something? Or is this something else? He pulls out his phone, opens the video someone posted. The one from that day. 10 minutes. Compressed into 2. He watches himself at the board. Chalk moving. Lines forming. The solution is right. He knows it is. Comments flood the post. This guy's a legend. Professor got cooked. Bet he's mad, lol. But one comment stands out. Y'all don't get it. Professors like that don't lose. They just wait. Elier screenshots it. Reads it again. Then deletes the screenshot. Friday comes. Another lecture. Another silent class. Elier doesn't raise his hand. Doesn't ask questions. He just watches. The professor teaches. Smooth. Controlled. Perfect. Nothing feels off. Nothing feels wrong. And that's what scares him most. Because silence isn't neutral. Silence is a choice. After class, Elier gets coffee. Sits in the library. Tries to study. But his phone keeps buzzing. Group chats. Mentions. Tags. People asking if he really got the A. People asking what happened. He doesn't know what to say, so he says nothing. That weekend, his mom calls. How's school? Fine. You sound tired. Just busy. You eating okay? Yeah, Mom. You'd tell me if something was wrong, right? Elier pauses. Looks at his reflection in the dark window. Yeah, I'd tell you. He wouldn't. Monday morning. Week 2. Elier walks into class. Same seat. Same routine. But something's different. The professor hands back assignments. One by one. Walking through the rows. When he gets to Elier, he stops. Places the paper face down. Doesn't say anything. Just moves on. Elier flips it over. B-. His stomach drops. He reads the comments. Red ink. Everywhere. Lacks depth. Missed key assumptions. Reconsider approach. Elier stares at it. Reads it again. This assignment was easy. He knew this material cold. He looks up. The professor is already teaching. Elier's hands start shaking. Not from anger. From understanding. This isn't about the grade. It's a message. And the message is clear. You embarrassed me. Now I'll erase you. Slowly. Quietly. in ways you can't fight. Elier folds the paper, puts it in his bag, says nothing. Because what can he say? He won the battle. But the war just started, and he's starting to realize he never stood a chance. 2 weeks go by. Elier stops checking his portal obsessively, stops replaying that day in his head. He tells himself he's being paranoid, overthinking. Maybe the B- was fair. Maybe he did miss something. The professor acts normal, professional, fair, calls on other students, answers questions, teaches. No tension, no hostility, no weird looks. It's almost easy to forget. Almost. Elier submits his next assignment early, double checks every answer, triple checks his work. When it comes back, there's a B+ at the top. Better. C. He thinks. It's fine. You're fine. His roommate notices the shift. You seem lighter. Elier shrugs. Just stopped stressing. Good. You were getting weird. That weekend, Elier goes out. First time in weeks. He laughs at jokes. Eats without thinking. Sleeps through the night. The weight lifts. He even starts participating in class again. Raises his hand. Contributes. The professor calls on him once. Nods at his answer. Moves on. Normal. Everything feels normal. Elier calculates his grade average. He's sitting at a solid B+. Maybe an A- if he finishes strong. His scholarship requires a 3.2. He's at a 3.4. Safe. He breathes. For the first time in weeks, he actually believes it's over. Wednesday afternoon. Elier is in the library. Headphones in. Working through practice problems. His phone vibrates. Email notification. He almost ignores it. But something makes him look. The subject line is short. Clean. Scholarship review. Action required. His stomach flips. He opens it. The email is automated. Polite. Procedural. Dear student, as part of our routine evaluation process, your academic standing is under review. Please submit the following documentation by Friday. Elier reads it twice. Routine evaluation. That's what it says. But he's never gotten one of these before. He checks the requirements. Transcripts. Course load verification. Professor evaluations. Professor evaluations. His chest tightens. He closes the email. Opens his scholarship portal. Everything looks fine. His GPA is still above the threshold. No red flags. No warnings. So why now? He texts his roommate. Did you get a scholarship review email? No. What? Elier doesn't respond. He goes to the financial aid office. Waits in line for 20 minutes. When it's his turn, the advisor pulls up his file. Oh, yeah. Looks like your review was flagged. Flagged for what? Doesn't say. Just says routine check. But I'm above the GPA requirement. I see that. Sometimes it's random. Sometimes a professor submits a concern form. Elier goes cold. A concern form? Yeah. It's not an accusation. Just a flag. Could be anything. Attendance. Participation. Academic integrity. I haven't done anything wrong. The advisor shrugs. Then you're fine. Just submit the docs, and it'll clear. Elier walks out. His hands are shaking again. A concern form. He knows exactly who submitted it. That night, he doesn't sleep. He sits at his desk, staring at the email. Routine. Random. Policy. Words designed to sound neutral. But nothing about this feels random. He opens the professor's faculty page, scrolls through his listed office hours, tries to find an email, a phone number, anything. Everything routes through the department. He wants to send a message, ask what's going on. But what would he even say? Did you report me? He'd sound paranoid, defensive. And if the answer is yes, then what? Thursday morning. Elier submits the documents. Every single one. Perfect transcripts. Clean attendance. Solid evaluations from other professors. He writes a short note at the end. Happy to provide any additional information if needed. Professional. Calm. Cooperative. He hits send. Then waits. Class that afternoon is normal. The professor teaches. Elier takes notes. No acknowledgement. No eye contact. Just another day. But Elier keeps glancing at his phone, waiting for a response from financial aid. Nothing. Friday. Still nothing. Saturday. Silence. By Sunday, Elier convinces himself it's fine. They're just slow. Bureaucracy takes time. Monday morning. He checks his email. One new message. Subject, Scholarship Review, Next Steps. He opens it. Thank you for submitting your documentation. Your file has been forwarded to the Academic Standards Committee for further review. You will be notified of next steps within 10 business days. Further review. Academic Standards Committee. 10 business days. Elier reads it again. His GPA is fine. His attendance is fine. Everything is fine. So why does this feel like a sentencing? He looks at his calendar. 10 business days puts him 2 days before midterms. 2 days before grades get locked. 2 days before his scholarship status gets decided. He closes his laptop. Stares at the wall. The professor never said his name. Never accused him of anything. Never had to. Because the system does it for him. Quiet. Clean. Untraceable. Elier takes a breath. He's not paranoid. He's being hunted. And the hunt just went official. Elier doesn't panic. He goes methodical. He prints every email. Every assignment. Every graded paper. He organizes them by date. By class. By professor. If this goes to a committee, he'll have proof. Proof he showed up. Proof he performed. Proof he did nothing wrong. Tuesday. Class. Elier walks in. Same seat. The professor is writing on the board. Elier watches his hand. The way he holds the chalk. The confidence in every stroke. Like nothing can touch him. Halfway through the lecture, the professor hands back another assignment. Elier's paper lands on his desk face down. He doesn't flip it immediately. Waits until the professor moves to the next row. Then he looks. C+. His breath catches. He scans the comments. Weak foundational understanding. Lacks rigor. Reconsider your approach to the material. Elier stares at the grade. Reads the problem he solved. It's identical to one from the textbook. Word for word. He got it right. He knows he did. He checks the answer key later that night. Perfect match. But the grade says otherwise. And there's no explanation. Just comments. Vague. Subjective. Unchallengeable. Wednesday. Elier goes to office hours. The door is open. The professor is at his desk. Elier knocks. Come in. He steps inside. Closes the door softly. I wanted to ask about my recent assignment. The professor doesn't look up from his computer. What about it? I think there might have been a mistake. I checked my work against the answer key, and the answer key is a guide, not a guarantee. But I followed the exact process. Process isn't the same as understanding. Elier's hands tighten around the paper. I don't understand what I did wrong. The professor finally looks at him. Not angry. Not annoyed. Just tired. You're focusing on the wrong things. Grades aren't about being technically correct. They're about demonstrating depth. I thought I did. Clearly, you didn't. Silence. Elier feels his face heating. His throat closing. Is this because of the challenge? The question escapes before he can stop it. The professor leans back in his chair. Excuse me. The problem. From the first week. The one I solved. What about it? You said I'd get an A. And you will. If you earn it. But you said. I said if you solved it, you'd get an A. I didn't say you'd coast the rest of the semester. Elier's chest tightens. That's not what's happening. Isn't it? The professor's tone doesn't change. Doesn't rise. Doesn't sharpen. It stays calm. Reasonable. Almost kind. And that makes it worse. You had one good moment. Congratulations. But this class isn't about moments. It's about consistency. He gestures to Elier's paper. And right now, you're not consistent. Elier stands there. Frozen. I'd suggest focusing less on what you think you deserve and more on what you're actually producing. The professor turns back to his computer. Was there anything else? Elier's voice cracks. Just slightly. No. He walks out. The hallway feels longer than it should. That night, Elier sits in his dorm. His roommate is out. The room is silent. He pulls up his grade average. With the C+, he's dropped to a 3.1. 1 point below the scholarship threshold. He has 4 weeks left. For assignments. One final. If he gets anything below a B on any of them, he's done. Not just the class, the scholarship, the semester, everything. He opens his financial aid portal. The review status hasn't changed. Still pending. Still forwarded. Still waiting. He does the math. If the committee rules against him before grades finalize, they can pull funding mid-semester. Which means even if he finishes strong, it won't matter. He'll owe tuition he can't pay for a semester he already attended. Elier closes his laptop, puts his head in his hands. This isn't about grades anymore. This is about survival. And the system isn't designed to save him. It's designed to erase mistakes quietly. And right now, he's the mistake. Friday. Another assignment due. Elier spends 12 hours on it. Checks every line, every citation, every formula. He has his roommate read it, has a tutor review it, has someone from the writing center proofread it. Everyone says it's solid. He submits it at 11:58, 2 minutes before deadline. Then he waits. Monday comes. The professor hands back assignments. When he gets to Elier, he pauses, just for a second, then places the paper down. Elier flips it over. B-. Not great, but survivable. The comments are sparse. Adequate effort. Meets baseline expectations. That's it. Elier exhales. It's not an A, but it's not a C. He's still in the fight. Barely. That night, he gets another email. Financial aid. Subject, scholarship review update. He opens it with shaking hands. Your case has been escalated for final review. A decision will be made within 5 business days. Please ensure all academic obligations are current. 5 days. Elier counts forward. 5 days lands right before his next assignment is due. Right before midterms. Right before everything locks. He reads the email again. Ensure all academic obligations are current. What does that even mean? He's submitted everything. Attended everything. Done everything. But it doesn't matter. Because somewhere in a file he can't see, there's a flag he can't remove. And the clock is running. Not on his grades. On his future. And he's starting to realize. This was never about fairness. It was about power. And he never had any. Elier stops trying to fix his grades. That's what they expect. Desperation. Pleading. Mistakes. So he does something else. He studies. Not the coursework. The professor. Late Tuesday night. Library. 4th floor. Empty. Elier opens the university's research database. He types the professor's name. Dozens of papers appear. Publications. Citations. Awards. Elier starts reading. Not skimming. Reading. Every proof. Every formula. Every footnote. Hours pass. His eyes burn. But he keeps going. Because something feels off. Wednesday. 3 a.m. Elier finds it. A paper from 8 years ago. Published in a mid-tier journal. The proof is elegant. Clean. Respected. It's been cited over 200 times. Elier reads it twice. Then a third time. He opens another tab. Pulls up a foundational theorem the proof relies on. Cross-references the assumptions. Then he sees it. Small. Buried. Easy to miss. An assumption in step 4. It's not wrong. But it's not tested either. The professor assumed a condition held universally. And because the conclusion was correct, no one questioned the path. The proof worked. So the method survived. For 8 years. Elier's hands start shaking. Not with excitement. With fear. Because he just found leverage he never wanted. Thursday morning. Elier doesn't go to class. He sits in his dorm. Staring at his screen. He's triple-checked the assumption. Run scenarios. Tested edge cases. The conclusion is still right. But the method has a gap. A tiny one. One that doesn't break the proof. But exposes it. His roommate walks in. You okay? You look sick. I'm fine. You sure? You've been weird all week. Elier closes his laptop. Elier's stomach twists. I wasn't trying to. I know what you were trying to do. You were trying to prove you're not someone I should mess with. The professor's voice stays calm. Almost kind. But here's what you don't understand. This doesn't give you power. It gives me a reason to contain you. Elier can't breathe. I'm not threatening you. The professor continues. I'm explaining reality. You found something no one was supposed to notice. And now we both have a decision to make. He sits back down. So here's my question. What do you want? Elliott's mind races. What does he want? His scholarship. His grades. His future. But saying that out loud makes him sound desperate. So he says the only thing that feels true. I just want to be left alone. The professor nods slowly. That's reasonable. Then he smiles. And Elliot realizes. He just made the worst mistake of his life. Elliot leaves the office in a daze. His legs feel numb. His thoughts scrambled. He replays the conversation in his head. The smile. The calm. The question. What do you want? He gave the wrong answer. He knows he did. But what was the right one? That night, he doesn't sleep. Just stares at the ceiling, watching shadows move. His roommate asks if he's okay. Elliot says yes. It's a lie. Tuesday. Class. Elliot walks in. Same seat. The professor is already teaching. Doesn't acknowledge him. Doesn't ignore him either. Just normal. Like Monday never happened. Elliot takes notes. Keeps his head down. Stays silent. Class ends. Students file out. Elliot starts packing his bag. Stay a moment. The professor's voice is quiet. Not a command. A suggestion. Elliot freezes. The room empties. The door closes. The professor walks to the front. Erases the board. Doesn't turn around. I've been thinking about our conversation. Elliot doesn't respond. Doesn't know how to. You're in a difficult position. I understand that. The professor sets the eraser down. Finally turns. So I want to help. Elliot's chest tightens. Your scholarship review. I can make a call. Clear it up. Silence. Your grades. I can adjust them. Bring you back to where you should be. The professor steps closer. You're a good student. Smart. Hardworking. You deserve to succeed. He pauses. But you need to understand something. This only works if we're on the same page. Elliot's throat is dry. What page? The one where we both move forward. Quietly, the professor pulls a folder from his desk. Opens it. Inside is a draft. A revised version of the 2017 paper. I've been working on this for a while. Tightening the assumptions. Closing gaps. He slides it toward Elliot. Your observation was useful. I'd like to acknowledge that. Elliot looks at the draft. Scans the acknowledgements section. His name isn't there. I'll credit you as a research assistant. It'll look good on your record. The professor sits on the edge of his desk. The revision gets published. Your name is attached. Quietly, professionally, he folds his arms. Your grades get fixed. Your scholarship clears. Your future stays intact. Elliot stares at the paper. It sounds reasonable. Fair even. But something feels wrong. What happens to the original? It stays published. With a quiet correction note. Standard academic practice. And if I say no? The professor's expression doesn't change. Then you're choosing a harder path. What does that mean? It means you'll finish the semester on your own merit. No adjustments. No interventions. He stands. Walks back to his desk. And given your current trajectory, that's uncertain. Elliot feels his pulse in his throat. You're threatening me. I'm clarifying options. The professor sits. Opens his laptop. You have until Thursday to decide. After that, the revision goes forward. With or without you. He looks up. I'd prefer with. Elliot picks up his bag. His hands shaking. Can I think about it? Of course. That's why I'm giving you time. Elliot walks to the door. One more thing. He stops. Doesn't turn around. If you talk to anyone about this, the deal disappears. Silence. Do you understand? Elliot nods. Good. He leaves. The hallway feels too bright. Too loud. He finds a bathroom. Locks himself in a stall. Sits on the closed toilet. Head in his hands. His mind is racing. If he accepts, his problems disappear. Scholarship saved. Grades fixed. Future secured. But his name gets buried. His discovery erased. His voice silenced. If he refuses, he's alone. Fighting a system designed to crush him. With no proof. No allies. No guarantee. Both options feel like losing. Wednesday. Elier skips class. He can't face the professor. Can't pretend everything's normal. He goes to the library. Tries to study. But every word blurs. He thinks about calling his mom. Telling her everything. But what would he even say? I found a gap in a professor's research and now he's blackmailing me. She wouldn't understand. She'd tell him to take the deal. Just finish school. That's all that matters. And maybe she's right. Maybe this isn't the hill to die on. Thursday morning. Elier wakes up with his decision made. He's not sure when it happened. Sometime in the night. Between nightmares. He's not taking the deal. Not because he's brave. But because he can't. If he buries this now, it'll bury him forever. He won't just lose his voice. He'll lose himself. Thursday, 2 p.m. Elier walks into the professor's office. The man looks up. Expectant. Well, Elier's voice is steady. Quieter than he'd like. But steady. I can't do it. The professor's face doesn't change. Can't. Or won't. Both. Silence. The professor closes his laptop. Leans back. You're making a mistake. Maybe. You understand what this means. I think so. The professor nods slowly. Almost sadly. I tried to help you. I know. What happens next is your choice. Elier meets his eyes. It was always my choice. The professor's jaw tightens. Just slightly. You can go. Elier turns. Walks to the door. His hand is on the handle when the professor speaks again. You won't win this. Elier pauses. I don't need to win. I just need to stop losing. He leaves. The door closes behind him. And for the first time in weeks, he breathes. Not relief. Not victory. Just air. Because the war isn't over. It's just beginning. But at least now, he's fighting. Friday morning. Elier wakes up to an email. Financial aid. Subject, scholarship status, final notice. His heart stops. He opens it. After careful review, your scholarship has been suspended pending resolution of academic concerns. You have 72 hours to submit an appeal or arrange alternative payment. 72 hours. 3 days. Elier reads it again. Then again. His hands won't stop shaking. He checks the amount owed. $18,000. Due in 3 days. Or he's out. He closes his laptop. Opens it. Closes it again. Then calls his mom. She picks up on the second ring. Hey honey. Everything okay? He can't speak. Elier. Mom. I need to tell you something. He explains everything. The challenge. The professor. The paper. The deal. She listens without interrupting. When he finishes, there's silence. How much do you owe? 18,000. By when? Monday. More silence. We don't have that. I know. Can you talk to them? Explain. I tried. They said it's policy. His mom's voice cracks. Just slightly. What do we do? Elier closes his eyes. I don't know. They sit in silence. Neither knowing what to say. Finally, his mom speaks. Can you take the deal? Mom. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's survival. I can't. Why not? Because if I do, I'll never forgive myself. His mom exhales. Then we'll figure it out. Somehow, they both know that's not true. But neither says it. Saturday. Elier applies for emergency loans. Denied. Credit too low. No cosigner available. He applies for hardship grants. Denied. Doesn't meet criteria. Applications closed until next semester. He looks into payment plans. Minimum $5,000 down, which he doesn't have. By Sunday night, he's out of options. He sits in his dorm. Calculator open. Numbers that don't add up. His roommate is packing for spring break. You okay, man? Elier doesn't answer. Seriously, you've been weird all weekend. I might have to leave. His roommate stops packing. Leave? Like drop out? Maybe. What happened? Elier shakes his head. Long story. His roommate sits on his bed. You need money? More than you have. How much? 18,000. Oh. Silence. Yeah, that's a lot. Elier laughs. It sounds hollow. Yeah. His roommate leaves for break that night. The room feels empty. Too quiet. Elier lies in bed, staring at his phone. One unread email. From the professor. He almost deletes it without reading. But something stops him. He opens it. Subject: reconsideration. Body: I understand you're facing difficulties. The offer still stands. Think about your future, not your pride. You have until Monday morning. Elier stares at the screen. The words feel like poison, but also like oxygen. He could end this. Right now. One email. One compromise. His scholarship gets reinstated. His grades fixed. His problems erased. All he has to do is disappear. Quietly. Professionally. He starts typing a response. Stops. Deletes it. Starts again. His hands hover over the keyboard. What's pride worth? Really? Is it worth $18,000? Is it worth his entire future? His mom's voice echoes in his head. It's survival. Maybe she's right. Maybe this isn't the fight to pick. He types, I accept. His finger hovers over send. One click. That's all it takes. One click and it's over. He closes his eyes. Thinks about the lecture hall. The board. The 10 minutes. The moment he proved he belonged. The moment that started everything. He deletes the email. Types a new one. I can't accept your offer, but I have a different proposal. He pauses. Then continues. The gap in your proof isn't just theoretical. It's documentable. And it matters. His heart is pounding now. I'm not asking for credit. I'm not asking for acknowledgement. I'm asking for honesty. He takes a breath. Publish the correction. Put your name on it. I don't care. But do it right. His hands are shaking so hard he can barely type. If you do that, I'll walk away. No appeals. No complaints. No noise. He reads it back. It's not a threat. It's not a demand. It's a plea. If you don't, I go public. Not to hurt you, but because someone has to. He adds one final line. You have until Monday morning. Then hits send. The email disappears. Elier sits back. His chest feels tight. His breathing shallow. He just bet everything he has. On a hand he can't win. He opens his financial aid portal one more time. Payment due. Monday, 9 a.m. Amount: $18,000. Status: outstanding. He closes his laptop, lies down, and waits. For a response that might never come. For a future that might disappear. For a choice that might destroy him. Monday morning, 6 a.m. Elier's phone buzzes. He reaches for it. Half asleep. Heart already racing. One new email. From the professor. Subject: Monday. He opens it. Body: my office. 8 a.m. Come alone. That's it. No answer. No agreement. No refusal. Just a summons. Elier gets dressed in the dark. His roommate's bed is still empty. The dorm is silent. He walks across campus. The sun isn't up yet. Everything feels surreal. Like a dream he can't wake from. He reaches the building. Takes the stairs. His legs feel like lead. Third floor. Down the hall. The professor's door is open. He's sitting at his desk. Waiting. Elier walks in. The door closes behind him. And for the first time in weeks, he has no idea what happens next. The professor doesn't look up when Elier enters. Just keeps typing. The silence stretches. Elier stands there, waiting. Finally, the professor stops. Closes his laptop. Sit. Elier sits. The professor leans back. Studies him. You put me in a difficult position. Elier doesn't respond. I offered you a way out. A clean one. And you chose escalation. I chose honesty. The professor's jaw tightens. Honesty is expensive, especially for people in your position. I know. Do you? Because it doesn't seem like you understand what you're risking. Elier meets his eyes. I understand exactly what I'm risking. That's why I'm here. The professor stands. Walks to the window. I could bury you. You know that. You already tried. The professor turns. His face cold. What I did before was containment. What I do next is elimination. Elier's heart pounds. But he doesn't look away. Then do it. Silence. You think I won't. I think you will. But I also think it won't work. The professor's eyes narrow. Explain. Elier pulls out his phone. Opens an email draft. I documented everything. The gap. The assumption. The timeline. Your offer. My refusal. He scrolls. I've written it clearly. Objectively. No accusations. Just facts. The professor's face doesn't change. But something in his posture shifts. Who have you sent it to? No one. Yet. Elier sets his phone on the desk. It's scheduled to send Tuesday morning. To the journal. The department head. The Academic Integrity Board. The professor stares at the phone. That's a bluff. It's insurance. You're threatening me. I'm protecting myself. The professor picks up the phone. Elier doesn't stop him. He opens the draft. Reads. His expression stays neutral. But his grip tightens. He sets the phone down. This ruins you too. You know that. Maybe. Not maybe. Definitely. You'll be marked as a troublemaker. No one will touch you. Elier nods. I've thought about that. And I'd rather be untouchable than erased. The professor laughs. Short. Bitter. You're naive. Maybe. But I'm also right. Silence. The professor walks back to his desk. Sits. What do you want? I told you. Publish the correction. Properly. Transparently. And if I do, the email gets deleted. I finish the semester quietly. We never speak again. You expect me to trust you? You don't have to trust me. You have to choose between two bad options. The professor leans forward. And if I don't, then Tuesday morning, everyone knows. And it stops being about me. Or you. It becomes about the proof. Elier stands. And once it's public, you can't control the narrative anymore. He walks to the door. Stops. I don't want to hurt you. I just want this to stop. The professor doesn't respond. Elier opens the door. You have until noon. He leaves. The morning feels unreal. Elier walks to the quad. Sits on a bench. His phone feels heavy in his pocket. He pulls it up. Checks the scheduled email. Still set for Tuesday. 9 a.m. He stares at it. His finger hovers over the cancel button. But he doesn't press it. Not yet. Noon comes. No email. No call. Nothing. Elier's stomach twists. He checks his portal. Payment still due. 1 p.m. Still nothing. 2 p.m. Same. By 3, Elier is pacing. Maybe the professor called his bluff. Maybe he's already working on a counter. Maybe Elier just destroyed his last chance. 3:15. His phone buzzes. Email notification. From the department. Subject, public seminar announcement. He opens it with shaking hands. The mathematics department is pleased to host a special seminar this Friday. Professor, name, will present recent refinements to his 2017 work on constrained optimization. Open forum. Q&A to follow. Elier reads it 3 times. A public seminar. Open forum. Q&A. This isn't a correction. This is a challenge. The professor isn't hiding. He's going public, but on his terms. Elier's phone buzzes again. Text from an unknown number. Friday, 3 p.m. Be there. That's it. No signature. No explanation. But Elier knows who sent it. He texts back. I'll be there. 3 dots appear. Then disappear. No response. Elier sits back. This isn't over. But it's no longer private. Friday, 2:50 p.m. The lecture hall is packed. Students. Faculty. Visitors. Word spread fast. Elier sits in the back. Tries to stay invisible. But people keep looking at him. Whispers. That's the guy. The one who solved it. I heard he called out the professor. Elier ignores them. At 3, the professor enters. The room goes silent. He walks to the front. No notes. No slides. Just a marker and a board. Thank you for coming. His voice is calm. Confident. I'm here to discuss some recent observations regarding my 2017 paper. He writes the original proof on the board. This proof has stood for 8 years. But recently, a question was raised. He turns. Looks directly at Elier. About assumption 4. The room shifts. Eyes following the professor's gaze. The question was valid. The assumption needed verification. He writes a new section. Clean. Precise. So I verified it. The room watches. He works through the math. Step by step. The gap closes. The assumption holds. But something is different. Elier leans forward. The method changed. Subtly, but crucially, the professor finishes. Steps back. Questions. Silence. Then a hand raises. The professor nods. Yes. Is this a correction or a refinement? Both. Another hand. Why present this now? The professor pauses. Because someone asked the right question. His eyes find Elier again. And the best response to a good question is a better answer. The room murmurs. Another hand. This one from a senior faculty member. Will this be published? It already is. As of this morning. With acknowledgments. He pulls up a screen. Projects it. The revised paper. Published. Timestamped. Acknowledgments section visible. Elier's name is there. Not buried. Not hidden. Listed. Clearly. Research assistant. Elier Kane. The room erupts in whispers. Elier's chest tightens. This wasn't the deal. This was something else. The professor looks at him. Not with anger. Not with triumph. With something Elier can't name. Respect. Maybe. Or warning. The seminar ends. People swarm the professor. Elier slips out. His phone buzzes. Financial aid. Scholarship status updated. Review resolved. Funding restored. He stops walking. Reads it again. It's over. He won. But it doesn't feel like winning. He checks the published paper later that night. Reads the acknowledgments. His name. Right there. He deletes the scheduled email. Then closes his laptop. And finally, sleeps. 3 weeks later, Elier walks into the same lecture hall. Different semester. Different class. Different professor. But the same building. The same air. He takes a seat. Middle row this time. Not hiding. Not performing. Just present. The new professor is younger. Friendlier. Asks questions instead of delivering verdicts. Halfway through the lecture, a student raises their hand. Hesitant. Unsure. The kind of hesitation Elier recognizes. The professor calls on them. I don't understand the third step. The professor pauses. Considers. What part is confusing? I'm not sure. It just doesn't click. Silence. A few students shift. Uncomfortable. Someone in the back snickers. The professor doesn't react to it. Just nods. Let's walk through it together. They do. Slowly. Patiently. No mockery. No theater. Just teaching. The student nods. Okay. I think I get it now. You sure? Yeah. Thank you. The professor smiles. Anytime. Class continues. Elier watches the student. Sees their shoulders relax. Sees them take notes again. Sees them stay. After class, Elier packs his bag slowly. The student from earlier is still sitting, staring at their notebook. Elier hesitates, then walks over. Hey. The student looks up. Startled. You asked a good question in there. They blink. Really? I felt dumb. You weren't. You were honest. The student smiles. Small. Uncertain. Thanks. Elier nods. Turns to leave. Then stops. Can I tell you something? Sure. Asking questions doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous. The student frowns. Dangerous. To people who don't want you to understand. He doesn't explain further. Just leaves. That night, Elier gets a message. From the old professor. He almost deletes it. But opens it instead. I'm retiring at the end of the year. Thought you should know. No explanation. No apology. No closure. Just information. Elier stares at the message. Part of him wants to respond. Ask why. Ask if it was worth it. But he doesn't. Because some questions don't have answers. He deletes the message. And moves on. Weeks turn into months. Elier finishes the semester. Strong grades. No drama. He applies for research positions. Gets interviews. In one, the interviewer mentions his name on the published paper. That's impressive for an undergraduate. Elier nods. I got lucky. Luck is part of it. But so is asking the right questions. He gets the position. Months later, Elier is working late in the lab. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. Is this Elier Kane? He hesitates. Then responds. Yes. Who's this? You don't know me. But I read your acknowledgement in Dr. Name's paper. I'm a grad student. I think I found something similar in another proof. Can I ask you about it? Eliur's chest tightens. He remembers the fear, the isolation, the weight of knowing something no one wanted to hear. He types back. Yeah, let's talk. They set up a call. During it, the student explains. Nervous, apologetic. Eliur listens, asks questions, doesn't judge. At the end, the student asks, what do I do? Eliur pauses. What do you want to do? I want to be right, but I don't want to ruin my career. Those don't have to be opposites. How did you do it? Eliur thinks back. The emails, the meetings, the fear. I didn't do it alone, and I didn't do it perfectly. But you did it. Yeah, I did. Silence. Will you help me? Eliur exhales. Yeah, I will. 1 year later, Eliur is walking across campus. He passes the old lecture hall, pauses outside. The door is open. A class is in session. A different professor, a different group of students, but the same board, the same desks, the same pressure. He watches for a moment. A student raises their hand. The professor ignores it, raises it again. Still nothing. Eliur's jaw tightens. He wants to walk in, say something, but he doesn't, because that's not his fight anymore. Instead, he pulls out his phone, sends a message to the student he helped months ago. How's the revision coming? Response comes fast. Published last week. With acknowledgments. Eliur smiles. Proud of you. Couldn't have done it without you. He puts his phone away. Keeps walking. The lecture hall fades behind him. But its echo stays. Not as a scar. As a reminder. That silence protects no one. That questions matter. That being right isn't the same as being safe. But sometimes, it's worth it anyway. Later that night, Eliur sits in his apartment, opens his laptop, scrolls through his old emails, finds the one he never sent, the one he wrote at 2 a.m. Terrified, angry, desperate. He reads it now and realizes he's not that person anymore. Not because he's stronger, but because he's honest. With himself, with others. He closes the laptop, looks out the window. The campus is quiet. Lights scattered across buildings. Each one a room. Each room a student. Each student carrying something. Fear. Hope. Questions. He doesn't know their stories. But he knows what it feels like. To be seen. To be silenced. To choose. His phone buzzes. Message from his mom. How are you? He smiles. Types back. I'm good, Mom. Really good. She sends a heart. He sends one back. Then sets his phone down. The room is quiet. But it doesn't feel heavy anymore. It feels light. Not because the fight is over, but because he knows now. He can fight. And sometimes, that's enough. Years from now, someone will ask him about that semester. About the professor. The challenge. The 10 minutes. And he'll tell them. Not as a victory story. Not as a cautionary tale. Just as the truth. I solved a problem. And it cost me everything. And I'd do it again. Because some moments define you. Not by what you win, but by what you refuse to lose. And Eliur refused to lose himself. The rest was just math.